Stop playing. Let go.
All of this is very crazy. We thought we had seen it all in hip-hop and love. But this feud between Kirk Frost and Mendeecees has gone deadly. They aren't just teasing each other anymore. Hold on, Kirk. Someone might not survive this. NC is now lawyered up and going for blood, bro. The streets are talking, the websites are buzzing, and let's just say that nobody is safe because we were leaked. This was a really set up Mendeecees. Was this some mafia-level ambush captured on camera? Reveals purported CCTV evidence and some startling receipts that will cause you to reconsider everything regarding Kirk Frost, who is set to be exposed, is making last-ditch power maneuvers behind the scenes, and most importantly, is going to lose. Let's examine the chaos, drama, and danger of this love and hip-hop war Mendeecees and Kirk Frost, two names that have been making headlines. Grab your popcorn, because this narrative twist is more outrageous than a season finale cliffhanger. Waves in the hip-hop and love worlds for all the wrong reasons, but believe me, you weren't prepared for what's about to happen. The streets are chatting and the tea is steaming, and you assumed it was just some trivial reality TV drama, but this. We're talking about backstabbing, secret meetings, and actions being taken behind closed doors that might alter everything. So let's take a moment to go back in time. You all know him. The man has been captured. There has always been controversy surrounding him, from his court cases to the tumultuous relationship drama with Yandy Smith. But what if I told you that this time he wasn't simply dealing with the courtroom? Perhaps a dispute at a reunion special, but no. This was really life or death, and Kirk Frost, a man who has made a name for himself as a father, businessman, and cool guy overall, was on the opposing side. From adultery scandals to shady dealings, the cameras have always been there. Kirk has never been as clean as he wants you to think, and it now appears like the skeletons in his closet are ready to come crashing down. Because, believe me, these people don't lie. Kirk and Mendeecees have been at odds for months. What began as a straightforward miscommunication has escalated into a full-fledged conflict. And you guys, you won't believe how deep it goes. At first, it appeared to be a normal industry spat, a dispute over money, and a business that was still failing. But then meeting behind closed doors began to occur. Doors began to close, individuals began to leave the conversation, and then the most shocking revelation of all was a whisper of a covert attack. Yes, a planned, coordinated, and lethal action with a single determined goal. I know what you're thinking, guys. DCs are out now. Kirk wouldn't do that. He's not that kind of guy. However, let me remind you of something. When money is involved, reputations are at risk, egos are hurt, anything is. But, and the most absurd aspect is that Mendeecees flipped the script because he somehow anticipated it and knew Kirk was planning something behind the scenes. You all recall the unique CCTV footage. The video that went viral last week was evidence that Kirk's people had been following me for weeks, waiting for the appropriate opportunity to attack. It turns out that this wasn't just a random altercation, and that evening was meant to be the night, but they were surprised to find that Mendeecees was prepared. Let's examine this image in detail. Mendeecees is out going about his business, believing that it is just another typical evening, but something doesn't feel right. The fact that the same car always appears wherever he goes, or that some of the individuals in the throng seem a bit too familiar could be the cause. But whatever it is, his instincts take over, and as he's ready to get into his car, boom! People are yelling, masked individuals suddenly rush him, and just when it seems that Mendeecees might not survive, his security team intervenes. A brawl breaks out, fists are exchanged, and someone takes out a weapon, and before you know it, everything is captured on camera. This is where things get even more crazy though, because as soon as the video was released, people began to figure out why, since those masked men who attacked and word on the street is that they weren't just any random thugs. Rather, they were connected to a wealthy and powerful somebody who had the ability to manipulate events behind the scenes and make things vanish. You can guess whose name kept appearing in those conversations. Kirk Frost. Listen, I don't know about you guys, but this doesn't seem like a coincidence to me. And it seems that men thought the same way since the following day he filed the complaint. That's right. Mendeecees went directly to the. According to sources close to the case, he gave authorities all he had, including names, footage, and a list of potential witnesses against Kirk. Let me assure you, he did not keep anything back. If Kirk had assumed that everything would simply go away, he was completely mistaken. He wasn't merely attempting to handle this behind closed doors. Rather, he was making this public, which meant that Kirk was officially. Now that you're in the hot seat, you already understand how this industry operates. When a scandal occurs, it spreads like wildfire. And believe me, this was only the beginning. People began researching Kirk, and let's just say that this makes. If you thought that M's filing the complaint was the end of it, you're not prepared for what happened next because, believe me, Kirk Frost's condition only got worse. Kirk was forced to reply when Mendeecees took this public, but the problem is that sometimes the worst thing you can do when you're under a lot of pressure is to speak up, and Kirk did just that rather than remaining silent. Kirk did something that no one anticipated when he went live on Instagram, live during a full-fledged legal problem, instead of letting his lawyers handle it, or simply making a simple remark like, "I have no involvement in this type of statement." This man decided it would be a good idea to try to clear his name in front of thousands of people on social media. And I'm telling you, this was a complete disaster. To start, Kirk. I don't know where this is coming from, Kirk. He looked agitated, as if he hadn't slept in 3 days, and my lawyer had just warned me that I would be in serious danger. As soon as he began speaking, you could see he was rushing. Kirk never really rejected the accusations. So now explain me why someone would accuse you of planning an attack on me. To begin, I have nothing to do with any of these men. They are trying to paint me as someone I am not. You wouldn't respond. That's a lie. I had nothing to do with that, like another man might. Instead, Kirk was merely blaming the blogs, the haters, and the way people were twisting the truth. Meanwhile, people were not buying it in the comments. One person wrote, "Bro, just say you didn't do it. Why all the extra talk?" Another viewer added, "Just when you thought it couldn't get worse, Kirk." Rashida appeared in the comments. Yes, this was Kirk's own wife, and let's just say that she wasn't being loyal to her husband on this one because, rather than defending Kirk, she made a shocking remark that left everyone stunned. "I told you this was going to happen." Permit me to ask what it means. When people realized that it was over, Twitter went crazy, Instagram was in ruins, and the blog began analyzing everything because, let's face it, if your own wife is out there implying that you've been involved in some dubious activities that aren't good for my guy. But here's where it gets. Well, the ends wasn't finished. You see, Ems wasn't just sitting around while Kirk was out there embarrassing himself on Instagram Live. His next move was a big one because, less than 48 hours after Kirk's disastrous live session, a fresh video surfaced. Let me set the scenario for this. He was waiting for things to play out. You know what? This was extremely clear, high-quality video, not some random surveillance film from across the street, nor was it grainy. And it revealed Kirk meeting in secret with one of the masked. Just days prior to the ambush on Mendeecees, Kirk was spotted sitting at a table having a heated discussion with the same man who was later captured on camera attempting to take Mendeecees out. Are you telling me this, guys from the attack? As soon as the internet went into full detective mode, individuals began to enhance the footage, breaking it down frame by frame, and coming to the conclusion that this was not a coincidence. Oh, and these sources obtained the receipts that Kirk was speaking with. Kirk has a history of serious business dealings, and we're not talking about romance or hip-hop dramas here. Rather, we're talking about real-life, off-the-record, underground business. And Kirk was sitting with him just days before Mendeecees was attacked, which isn't looking good. At this point, the pressure was mounting, and Kirk was losing control of the story. Then, just when he thought it couldn't get any worse, the police were called. Yes, the police had started an investigation. After the officers had finished their investigation, N's legal team came out and claimed to have more material that they hadn't released yet. And you know what that means? They're holding on to the real. Meanwhile, Kirk, was frantically trying to get things done because the feds were now watching. And trust me when you've got that kind of. Kirk's hands aren't clean, and you all want to know why. As this inquiry progressed, more dirt began to surface because of what others began doing. You haven't seen anything yet, so if you thought this was messy, you haven't seen anything yet. Now, just wait till the federal agents begin to sniff around. That's when you'll know. Kirk had some leeway up until this point, so he could have pretended that there was a major mistake and said that it was merely a business bus meeting or that he didn't know that guy. But I knew after the... When police became involved, the door was slammed shut because, as you may know, they don't stop at a single crime when they start an investigation. Let's just say that what they discovered on Kirk wasn't the first time they've done this. Playing dirty, you see, everything fell apart when they took his financial records because, let me ask you all, how does a man who has been begging to keep his enterprises afloat for years manage to do so? Someone should make sense of the fact that he has been crying over the amount of money he's losing, and that millions are suddenly flowing into and out of his accounts. Investigators discovered that Kirk had been sitting on a big secret bankroll, and guess what? The figures didn't stack up. We're talking about millions of dollars in consulting fees, sporadic wire transactions, and offshore accounts that keep cropping up everywhere. Keep in mind that enigmatic. The man in the mask from the attack was actually paid by Kirk earlier, so wait on. What business does Kirk have with Pang? He's a guy who has been connected to street activities specifically, and that's when the feds really got to work, because this isn't. A full-fledged criminal investigation is now underway, and the charges they're looking into are serious. We're talking about conspiracy to commit assault, not just some reality TV drama. Wire fraud, money laundering, connections to organized crime, and Kirk's completion. The worst part is that, guess what? This man, Meese, had a plan. He had been keeping receipts for years and knew Kirk had been unclean. When people learned that Kirk was being probed, they were even more shocked. I knew this man was acting shaddily, and the instant he crossed the line, boom, M fired the shot that started the entire takedown. Started talking because, well, when you're in the business, everyone know you're a jerk, and the instant Kirk appeared weak, all of his supposed pals turned against him. This led to additional leaked texts and phone calls from anonymous sources. Even Rashida quit defending him once calls came in, which was his own wife. You recall when she made that dubious remark during his Instagram live stream? Well, that was only the beginning, as she distanced herself once the police were called. Rashida quickly changed from playing the role of the ride or your wife to announcing to the media that she didn't know anything. You know what that means? She's preparing to defend herself because if your own wife no longer believes in you, that's it. Kirk believed things couldn't get any worse, but they did since the feds don't simply look into things. You can be sure she won't go down with him. The arrest, and let's just say that Kirk's time was up because it was precisely 6:45 a.m. on a typical Tuesday. They broke into his house, took down his doors, and looted it. They obtained search warrants, took all of the laptops, documents, and hard drives. And before Kirk could put on his slippers, he was in handcuffs. Oh, they grabbed him. And you know, the moment that mugshot was online, the nut Kirk out here playing mafia boss and getting caught made memes go crazy. Rashida was about to act as though she didn't even recognize him. But Kirk was playing checkers. And let's be honest, they weren't mistaken because mess is he left this clean. But instead of just winning, he ruined Kirk's career. And Kirk, oh baby, he isn't recovering from this because you know what happens to individuals who get involved in these types of controversies in the industry. They remove them. There are no more reality TV agreements, endorsements, or anything else. The irony is that the man who attempted to remove me ended up removing himself because, while Kirk sits in a frigid jail cell, Mendeecees is out here winning, and if that isn't the most outrageous narrative twist ever, I don't know what is. What do you guys think? Did Kirk do this to himself? Was it all part of N's grand scheme? And most importantly, what will Rashid do to Gadu next? Let's face it, she isn't waiting for this mess. Leave your comments, click like, and subscribe if you want more exclusive tea like this. Oh, And believe me, this isn't even the end of the drama, since what we just discovered is. It's just the beginning, but stay tuned because there will be one of the most outrageous confrontations in the history of love and hip-hop. Kirk Frost believed he was untouchable and that he could win the game by playing a rapid one-on-one and still maintain his little empire. But now look at him in the face of federal charges, his career in flames decimated, his reputation ruined, and Mendeecees, well, he's sitting back drinking and enjoying Kirk's downfall as if it were the greatest thing ever. Season finale of his life. But the underlying question is whether Kirk deserved this, if karma was finally catching up with him, or if I went too far. Additionally, is Rashida planning to leave Kirk in the end? Will she pull a ride or die in the dust? Try to save him, everyone. We need you. Replies: please share your ideas in the right now. I need to know whose comments. Do not believe this, and which side are you on? I promise you that the drama is done. The story is not yet complete, so be sure to subscribe to the video if you enjoy it, channel and enable alerts because, baby, the upcoming bombshell will rock the industry even harder, and keep it locked within